Hello everyone, Alistair Gold here. We're going to talk about money. Tottenham Hotspur and money. Money. £100 million worth of money has been injected, pumped, whatever word you want to use. It has been thrown, shoved, crammed, pushed into the club. I thought I wasn't actually going to do a video to the weekend, and this came out today, and it's something that we've spoken about that was on the horizon. I think we've spoken about this for months. That it was likely to be an injection of cash coming in from the owners, and after a week where we've had the third and final takeover approach fall to the wayside, so the powers that be at Tottenham Hotspur have decided, okay, we're going to put a little bit of money in. So I thought I'd do a little quick video to explain what it means. I know there's some people already saying 100 million, is that it? Kind of thing. In today's world, all of this sort of stuff. I get it, but there is more to come from what I understand. And also, that's, even with 100 million, if you're looking at it as that's the only fee that will be paid for a player, it's not really how it works today with instalments and things like that. But anyway, we'll talk about that. I'm going to do a quick loan roundup at the end as well. Still planning to do the Q&A at the weekend. So if you've got more questions you want to get in, it might be about the money now. It could be about anything to do with Tottenham Hotspur. Shove them in the comments underneath, and I shall do a video at the weekend at some point. So, today's news. Lewis family, Tottenham's owners, injected £100 million into the club. And that's got knock-on effects for Thomas Frank, for the CEO, Vinay Venkatesham. Here's the exact little statement that Spurs put out. They said, "We are pleased to announce that our majority shareholder, the Lewis Family Trust, has, through Inic Sport and Development Holdings Limited, injected £100 million of new capital into the club. This equity injection will further strengthen the club's financial position and equip the club's leadership team with additional resources to continue the focus on driving long-term sporting success. This additional capital is part of the Lewis family's ongoing commitment to the club and its future." So we're continuing this very public ownership of the club now by the Lewis family. They have pounced from the shadows, to use a phrase from Liar Liar, although I think it was deleted scenes at the end of Liar Liar. They are now very much at the forefront of things, and this is now money coming in through the trust, the Lewis Family Trust, through Enic as well, which is the vehicle for that. So let's look at some of the key questions, I guess, about this and what it means and what it doesn't mean. So, as I said, who's splashed the cash? First one, it is the Lewis family. We've got the siblings, Vivian and Charles Lewis. You've got obviously, if you're not aware, they are the children of the former Tottenham owner, Joe Lewis. They've come to the fore alongside Vivian's son-in-law, Nick Bucher. Still, I don't know who to ask. There must be someone I can ask to get the pronunciation of that. They've all been spotted in the director's box. They were there again at the weekend. Certainly Vivian Lewis and Nick Bucher was there for the NFL game at the weekend, which I was at, as the Vikings took on the Browns and beat them with a late touchdown. Still amazes me how that stadium transforms. It's just incredible. So what have they said, the Lewis family? Publicly nothing, but a source close to them said this is initial additional funding. As the club's management decides what's needed to deliver success, more money will be available. The Lewis family is committed to backing the club to be successful. So again, more public stuff. As I said at the top of this, the start of funds coming into the club, of the backing of the club. God, that programme is really on its last legs, isn't it? It's not really when you look at it up close. It just needs to stand up a bit and, put your back straight. Someone made a very kind offer of sticking it in a frame, which I probably will take up at some point. So, has anyone else at Spurs spoken publicly? Yes, they have. We had Peter Charrington, the new non-executive chairman of the club, gave his view. He said, and this is public, it's on the website, "As I stated a few weeks ago, our focus is on stability and empowering," they love that word, this new kind of leadership group, "empowering the management team to deliver on the club's ambitions. I know the Lewis family are also ambitious for the future. Today's capital commitment reflects that ambition, and I would like to thank them for their ongoing support. We'll continue to do all we can to ensure that Vinay and his team are supported in the best way possible to take this club forward." So the next question some of you might be asking, do Enic own more of the club now? From what I understand, yes. fractionally, just a tiny bit. Apparently, from what I understand, the new ownership percentage for ENIC in Spurs is 87.62%. There's documents that went into Company's House today that showed there's an allotment of millions of shares have gone out there. If you're wondering what it was before, well, before today's events, ENIC's ownership was 86.91. So it has gone up 70.71%. Yes, because you might remember there were some shares allotted December at the end of last year, which took them up from 86.58. So this is a bigger climb in the marginal kind of way. And so, yes, if you're not aware of the ENIC slice of the pie that is Tottenham Hotspur, I don't know what I'm doing, but of a pie, I'm really making a mess of this. Essentially, of that pie, and ENIC have that 87.62% of it, and of their slice, 70.12% of it is the Lewis Family Trust, and the other 29.88% is Daniel Levy and his family's as a discretionary trust, which they'll be beneficiaries of. So, how did this investment come about? Well, you might have heard in previous videos or anything I've written, this has been in the works for a long time. I think I wrote in June, reported back in June at the first time that it was going to be this cash injection coming into Spurs. It came via or because of a very thorough independent review of the club's operations, the running of the team from the top, and all initiated by the Lewis family, but through an independent kind of reviewer. And the name has gone out of my head completely, but that essentially has resulted in all of the changes you've seen, and now ENIC, Lewis Family Trust, whatever you want to call it, being confident enough to whack £100 million, a nine-figure sum into the club. Then, of course, amid all of that, we've had the recent takeover expressions of interest, as they call it, that were all rejected and eventually withdrawn anyway. Latest one came on Monday. Brooklyn Eric and his 12-strong consortium from the USA announced they would not be proceeding with their takeover approach. This was the one that was reportedly £3.3 billion was going to be bid, and another £1.2 billion set aside as transfer funds. There was a statement to London Stock Exchange that was withdrawn, or the expression of interest was withdrawn with any kind of desire to bid. And I don't think you can then make another approach for 6 months if you've done that. Essentially, Spurs kind of, I just think a statement going out to London Stock Exchange about the statement of interest kind of flushed out, are you going to make a bid or not? And they are not going to make a bid. He wrote, Brooklyn Eric, to his followers on his X account, "It's been a privilege engaging with Tottenham Hotspur and the Lewis family's representatives over the past few months. I have great respect for the club, its leadership and its supporters, and wish them nothing but success." Spurs announced to the Stock Exchange, the board of Tottenham Hotspur notes the recent announcements from the Firehawk, which was the previous one, the Asia-based consortium, and Mr. Eric's consortiums, that they do not intend to make an offer for the club. The board thanks them for the constructive approach taken in the discussions with the clubs and the Lewis family's representatives, and respecting the clear position of the Lewis family that the club is not for sale. If you're not aware, that you have the Firehawk consortium of investors led by Roger Kennedy and Wingfire NG through Firehawk, and then you had Amanda Stavling and PCP International Finance. All three of those come and gone into the sunset. That's them done, certainly for now. And I think those rejected approaches and the fact that we've had this big cash injection today with more to come, I think it appears to be further backing to the statement that the Lewis family are in it for certainly the immediate future, and in their words, for the long haul. So how does this cash injection help the club? Well, this is about improving Spurs' financial strength, the sustainability, and solidifying the foundation, I guess, within the club. It's not just about creating transfer funds. I know we immediately see a whack of money and go, hey, transfer money. Of course, it's going to help Vinay Venkatesham, Johan Langer in the market, and Thomas Frank when it comes to moves going forward. And it is meant to kind of help strengthen the squad, both in its current iteration and in the future as well. But I think what's important about this sum of money as well is that it's investing in the club through additional equity, which means it's not adding to the debt. So it boosts the balance sheet. It does boost the financial strength of the club as well. And from what I understand, the Lewis family's plan is for the club to have more equity and less debt. I guess that helps it be sustainable for generations to come, is the idea. And they're trying to make the club have better structured capital and a reduction over the long term in the reliance on debt funding. You might have seen there's been some good articles. I think Jack at The Athletic did a good piece a couple of months back on how little kind of actual cash there was at Spurs, because how much was tied up in stuff, but also, I guess, how much debt management there is as well. And I think the idea now the Lewis family are trying to do is to make the club less reliant on debt financing. Sorry, debt funding, technically, is the expression. And as part of that, some people have asked, is this connected to the recent loan? So in case you missed it, last month, Spurs took out a loan with the Australian-based Macquarie Bank. We spoke about it in a video, in what is known as, technical jargon, industry standard receivables factoring. In short, making it nice and easy, it's essentially getting your TV money or your merit payments from the Premier League or whoever up front. It's quite a common practice of selling outstanding invoices to a third party to get the money up front. And a lot of clubs use banks like Macquarie to get that TV revenue, or I think in this case it did say merit. I might have the thing here. Yeah, merit payments funds up front, which would be payable otherwise around May 26, 2026. So some people have suggested, is this amount of money just to pay off that loan? From what I understand, no. It's a separate thing. The bringing forward of the TV money or the merit payments is a debt that's to be serviced over time, but this is additional money from the Lewis family, and it's not to pay that off. So that's good. Good news. That's a good thing. And what does it mean for the January transfer window, which a lot of people immediately asked, and I suddenly saw this stuff about Semenyo and exciting stuff. And look, if you see a big 100 million or £100 million figure coming in, I know it's not big in today's world right now, but you are going to instantly think, right, January, what are you doing? I think it's fair to say this will help in the transfer market. I would be very surprised if Spurs suddenly become a Chelsea-like kind of ridiculous spenders in the next window. And I do think partly that's because it's January. January is a time when even those with the biggest pockets don't really spend big because clubs are reluctant to sell. And even for the big prices, they don't really, because it's even a club down the bottom. You could lose a star player for a healthy whack of money, but then essentially you don't really make much from it because you're in threat of relegation. There's so much more financial stuff you could lose out from. So it's not quite as cut and dried as we would love it to be. Yes, there's the current profit and sustainability rules as well, which Spurs and all other clubs will have to abide by. And I think Spurs' main problem with that, I think they've got a decent amount of room to wiggle with. But their main problem is they just can't sell players for decent money. They just struggle to do it. And that kind of comes back to haunt you. And of course, they don't have any academy players going for big money either, like some of the other clubs. But look, this immediate cash boost will, of course, help Spurs maybe line up a deal or two in advance because they know the money's there. I'm fascinated to see what the absence of Daniel Levy does as well, because he obviously has been the go-to man in negotiations, and it'll be fascinating to see whether it kind of impacts club-to-club talks in a positive or a negative way. We don't really know. This is all uncharted territory for us in the last 24 years or so. The other interesting thing is, will this money bring an increase to the wage structure at Spurs? I don't think that's a Lewis family thing. I think that will be more, I suppose, it will lie in the hands of Vinay Venkatesham. He has come from a club previously, albeit with a year in between, being at a club like Arsenal, that their higher ceiling on wages is way beyond what Spurs pay weekly. So he will know the kind of sums of money it takes to get in big, ready-made players. And I guess this is the thing with Spurs. I don't think if you look at spending over a period of time, they've been that horrendous. If anything, it's who they spent it on has maybe been the problem. But the other aspect is that wage structure. So other clubs may spend less, let's say, on a deal, but bring in a player who is unachievable for Spurs because they're on big money or they wanted big money. And maybe this money could be put towards something like that. Perhaps that's the way it's kind of used as well. But yeah, I think the key thing is, I think people are going to be watching. They are. And like I said, I know January window is difficult, but people are going to be watching, especially when you've got like the reports about Eric, like £1.2 billion in the transfer war chest, kitty, whatever you want to call it. Coffers is another good one we all like to use in the journalism world. And with all of that, whether it was truly there or not, we don't really know because it never came to pass. But, a lot of people are going to say, well, why are you rejecting bids or not allowing stuff like that to go to a certain point if you're not then going to spend decent money yourself? So this feels like the first start of the ball rolling, but I think all eyes will be on certainly in January, and I think definitely next summer. Whether this new leadership is, I guess, something bright and shiny and actually new, or whether it's just an extension of what comes before. So, yeah, it'd be really interesting to see, and certainly feels like a positive thing right now. Enoch didn't shove a lot of money into the club over the years. It feels like in more recent years that has been more of a little thing with money kind of coming in. And maybe it is heading towards somewhere more exciting. That would be great. That'd be fantastic. So what else? Quick loan latest before we go. Luka Vuskovic, shining bright like a diamond. And I don't know why I used a song name for that, or song lyrics. It was Rihanna, wasn't it? I was trying to work out who actually sang it, which was why I was stalling there. Hamburg are loving him. Hamburg are loving Luka Vuskovic. It is no coincidence their fans are saying that the club's fortunes have improved markedly since he came into the team. Yeah, I know we had the first difficult game against Bayern, which is a nightmare for any defender. But he might be only 18, but he was everywhere apparently in their 4-0 win last weekend against Mainz. I think since the Bayern game, they've had 2 wins and a draw with 2 clean sheets in the past 2 matches. And Vuskovic was named September's Rookie of the Month in the Bundesliga. I think he set a new, or a current record anyway. Became the first player in over 5 seasons in the game against Union Berlin last week to win 18 aerial duels in any of Europe's major 5 leagues. In 5 seasons. He won 18 of his 20 duels in the air. Remarkable. Even against Mainz, I was looking it up, he had 62 touches of the ball. That's an 18-year-old at the back getting that much of the ball because they just want to give him the ball. And apparently he made loads of massive challenges and tackles, which he was celebrating like a goal. No doubt he's got that from Spurs, I hope. What else did I read? Bild, the German media outlet, saying that he's doing a lot of, still studying for his school qualifications back in Croatia. He's doing online learning and he's learning German and Italian as well as already knowing English and, of course, Croatian. Clever young man. And apparently Hamburg have sold 1,000 shirts with his name on the back. And he is expected to be a real key figure for them this season in trying to keep them up. His Croatia boss, Zlatko Dalic, said, I think it was on Monday, he said about him, because obviously he's only got the 1 international cap, but he said a huge talent. He plays excellently in the Bundesliga, and that's why he got a chance in the senior national team. I think he should be with us to feel the atmosphere and what awaits him. With him, Croatia secures its centre-back for the next 10 to 15 years. So there you go. Good stuff on Luka Vuskovic. Jan Min-hyeok, he's on fire. Not literally in his football. He has got back-to-back very nice goals as well. This time he scored the winner as Portsmouth beat Middlesbrough on Saturday. Lovely shot on the run that the keeper couldn't keep out. So really good now. He obviously got the half volley against Watford in midweek. Feels like he's starting to get a bit of a head of steam now, which is great. Got a 7 from the Portsmouth News and local news. I looked them up. Lots of positive stuff about him. Said he was heavily responsible for their win. He's now racking up the points now. 238 minutes in the league, which was like a handful of minutes a couple of weeks ago. They're still only 19 as well. Manor Solomon didn't play in Villarreal's defeat at Real Madrid on Saturday. He missed the Champions League match against Juventus because it fell on the Jewish holy day of Yom Kippur, and then wasn't used from the bench at the weekend. Mikey Moore, the expected happened. Russell Martin's gone from Rangers. They had a 1-1 draw at Falkirk, which, I think they're 8th in the Scottish Premier League table, Premiership table, with 1 win to their name. And poor Mikey, he's had a tough time of it as well. Difficult situation for an 18-year-old to be thrust into. Fans kind of haven't taken too well to his performances. as they haven't to anyone, because they're just probably annoyed, quite frankly, at everything right now. It hasn't been working for him. Hasn't been getting some great reviews from the local media. But it is the situation he's in. He's so young and he is trying to find his feet. And ultimately, while on the surface it looked like a clever loan, it's looking a bit of a disaster with hindsight, of course, right now. And I'm sure there'll be an option to bring him back in January if it continues this way, because if the new manager, there's been talk of Steven Gerrard, whoever it may be, if they don't play him, you've got to get him back straight away. There's a few championship clubs, I think, probably sniffing around him. Across the other side of the world, Alejo Valise at Rosario Central. He couldn't make it 3 games in a row with a goal, but he still played 90 minutes and apparently played pretty well as they beat River Plate 2-1 at home on Sunday night. He's doing all right. 3 goals in 10 matches. Lots of minutes to his name. Another player, Alfie Devine, doing very well. He got an assist on Saturday, came off the bench to help Preston win 2-0 against Charlton. I think it was away as well. Just 4 minutes after coming on, it's a really nice kind of little move actually. Bursts down the left, waits for the perfect time to kind of pick out Daniel Jebison, and he slides home his goal. He's got 2 goals and 2 assists from his 8 championship matches so far, so he's doing really well, Alfie. Will Lancashire got 57 minutes off the bench, under his belt before coming off in Oxford's 2-1 defeat at Watford. Tough season for Oxford, the 22nd in the table, 1 win from 9 matches. But Will's doing all right. He's got 3 goals in those 9 matches. So for a team that's struggling especially, hopefully he'll be able to get back on, or they'll be able to get back on track. Talking to get back on track, Ashley Phillips and Jamie Donnelly, obviously both at Stoke City. Ashley Phillips finally got to remember what it was like to play football. He's had back-to-back 90-minute appearances for Stoke in the last 2 games, 2 draws as well. Jamie Donnelly finally got 9 minutes to his name after 6 straight championship matches and unused sub. It's not looking like a good move for Jamie Donnelly right now. Technically Ashley Phillips as well. So again, I think they'll have to look at those in January and see where they're at. Alfie Dorrington, unused sub as Aberdeen, won 4-0 at home against Dundee. He's kind of been in and out of their team in recent weeks. He either starts or he comes on or off at the break. He is making appearances, made 9 appearances, 601 minutes of football to his name. So he's getting minutes, but just not quite as going as well as it was at the end of last season for him. George Abbott had a pulled muscle, so he missed out on Wickham's 2-2 draw against Barnsley at the weekend. He's doing well there, but we'll see. I think he had a pulled muscle a little while back. We'll see how long that keeps him out. Damola Ajayi came off the bench for the final 14 minutes of Doncaster Rovers' 1-1 draw against Burton Albion on Saturday in League One. First experience of senior loan move. He's doing well. 12 appearances, 1 goal, 429 minutes. He is racking them up, so that's good. Little bits and pieces. One player who's really leapt forward, which is fantastic, is Tyrese Hall at Notts County. He just can't stop scoring. He's got 4 goals in 4 matches from midfield, and he scored again as I think got a goal and an assist actually for Notts County against Oldham Athletic. Really nice little kind of. First, his goal was like this lovely little placed finish with his right foot with no kind of backlift into the far corner, just about half an hour into the game. And then I think it was early in the second half, he just a little poked pass into the run of Alassane Jatta. And he's doing well. 447 minutes to his name, 10 appearances, like I said, 4 goals as well. Going really well for Tyrese Hall. His first experience of senior football as well, which is fantastic. So that's the loan roundup. So we've got money, loan roundup. Good stuff. Positive stuff on the whole, apart from a couple of those players. I'm going to head off now. I've got to go and play football myself and try not to destroy my old legs. Otherwise, I shall be back at the weekend, maybe Sunday. Maybe Saturday, thinking about it. No, I think it might be Saturday. Sunday I'm going back to the NFL again. I always try and cover the games. I like to just write little bits and pieces and features from them and how it all works in Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. I know for some people it's sacrilege that anyone else could be playing at Tottenham Hotspur Stadium, but you can't leave a £1.2 billion stadium absolutely closed off and doors shut for 340 days of the year, and it makes a lot of money. brings them in loads of money, Spurs, which, again, with the 100 million and stuff like this, can go towards battling some of these clubs with bigger revenues and bigger cash bases. But hey, maybe that's going to change at Tottenham. We'll see. Right, got to head off. I think England are on tonight. Yes, they are, in not too long. So this video is probably going to go out when maybe many people are watching England or whoever your international team may be. I'm heading off to football because international football, you know my thoughts on it. I'll keep an eye, see how Jed's doing. Hopefully he gets some good minutes. I haven't actually seen what the starting lineup is either. But yeah, time to head off. Please do get your questions into the comments below, and I will do my best to answer as many as possible at the weekend. Yeah, chuck me kind of, you know, whatever kind of ones. Might be some fun ones you want to ask as well. We always have fun, or we try to have fun, even when Spurs are not fun. But there you go. Right, time to head off. As always, stay healthy, stay safe, look after yourselves. I shall catch you later. Goodbye.